didn't mean to make Minecraft a big success. To claim that I know the secret sauce would be kind of false.
So was it a formula?
No, I wasn't following a formula, I was trying to make a game.
If you are a gamer, there is a 100% chance that you have played Minecraft at least once in your lifetime. But also, if you are not a gamer, chances are that you played Minecraft. But not everyone knows the story behind the indie game that destroyed AAA games created by companies worth billions. Today, we explore the incredible tale of its lonely creator, a depressed and controversial billionaire from Sweden. The year is 2009. An anonymous 30-year-old man releases an alpha version of his most recent game, Minecraft, a sandbox with ugly pixelated graphics. But the creator does not know that the game would have changed the world and the childhood of millions. But let's take a step back. Marcus Persson, aka Notch, was born on the 1st of June 1979 in Stockholm, Sweden, to a Finnish nurse mother and a Sweden railway worker. His childhood is not a walk in the park. Both his parents have drug problems, but he often spends his time building complex designs with Lego blocks. One day, his father gives him a Commodore 128, and Notch falls in love. He starts playing with it while also coding, and the first game he creates is a text-based adventure game at just 8 years of age. From that moment, Marcus becomes addicted to programming in every aspect of it. He teaches himself how to write better code, and despite the problems at home, his mother gives him online courses to watch to improve his natural talent even more. In this phase of his life, his parents support him a lot, believing in him, and at the age of 18, he drops school to land his first job as a programmer. After multiple jobs and a big improvement in his skills, in 2004 he starts working at MrZara, later known as Kings.com, the company known for its hit Candy Crush. During this time at MrZara, he meets Jacob Porser, who would become the co-founder of Minecraft and forever change Notch's life. Marcus Persson is obsessed with video games, and of course he creates multiple games even in his free time. His boss doesn't like the attention these games are garnering Notch, so after 5 years he leaves Kings.com to land a job at J-Album, a company that develops software to create photo galleries. After several not very memorable titles, Marcus starts working on a new sandbox game in his spare time, which allows the player to smash and place blocks in a world made of cubes, just like he enjoyed playing with Lego as a child. For him, it's just a game like another, made in a week, but in the first few days it receives a good response from the community. So his friend Porser joins Notch on the creation of the game, and the two leave their jobs to dedicate all their efforts to Cave Game, which will later become Minecraft. Marcus takes a gamble, selling the game while it's still in alpha, which is a pre-release version of the game with bugs and problems to fix during the development. But this move is successful, and the two developers end 2009 by selling around 400 copies a day, for $6 each, also starting a new company, Mojang, the translation of gadget in Swedish. The game is made of blocks, which makes both the characters and the environment too elementary. This, however, turns out to be its strong point. The title has a unique visual immediacy, which conquers adults and, above all, children. Everyone starts talking about Minecraft, which becomes more of a community and a place to meet new people rather than just a game. The success is clear even though the code behind the masterpiece does not reflect its popularity. Notch is good at coding, but of course, a game developed by just two guys will encounter bugs, especially if the same game is born with no expectancy and just to have fun developing it. For that reason, and also because money was arriving quickly, Marcus decides to expand the team, and that's the real turning point. From that moment on, sales skyrocketed, touching 1 million copies sold at the beginning of 2011, and 10 million copies just 6 months later, making Notch well over a millionaire. Actually, Marcus was generating about $100,000 every single day. He started from an idea like many others, he put his soul into the project, and it paid off really well. On the 18th of November 2011, after 2 years of alpha and beta versions, Notch pulls the switch to officially launch Minecraft 1.0, live at Minecon in front of 5,000 fans. A few days later, Marcus decides to step back and appoint Jens Bergensten as lead developer, to work on other projects and travel the world to release interviews and collect awards. Unfortunately, his success was tempered with a tragedy. In December of the same year, 2011, his father committed suicide, and his short marriage to Elin Zetterstrand came to an end after just 6 months. What followed was the beginning of a new project, 0x10c, and the abandonment of that same project followed by a creative creative dry spell. In 2012 and the following years, Minecraft gets released in various versions to suit all kinds of platforms, including Android, iOS, Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and many others. With all those releases, Minecraft sells millions more copies, generating about $230 million in sales. But just 2 years later, Notch burns out, and like all toys, the legitimate owner has the right to life and death, especially since the real turning point in his life is yet to come. On June 2014, Marcus publishes a tweet as a joke. Anyone wants to buy my share of Mojang so I can move on with my life? But something unexpected happens. After months of speculation, on September 15, 2014, Mojang is acquired by Microsoft for $2.5 billion. When the deal is formalized in November of the same year, Marcus Persson and the other two Mojang founders, Carl Mann and Jacob Porser, leave the company. With a net worth of $1.3 billion after taxes in his bank account, Notch begins to live the dream life, moving from one party to another with several Hollywood celebrities. It's not uncommon to see him spend up to $150,000 a night. His life in the United States is very intense. In December 2014, he buys a $70 million mansion in Beverly Hills, beating the offer of the couple Jay-Z and Beyoncé for a complex of about 21,000 square feet, complete with internal parking for 16 cars and an entire wall equipped with sweets and sugary treats. Not bad for a 35-year-old man who started from nothing and from cold Sweden finds himself under the warm Californian sun, with the Hollywood and music stars as neighbors. Although wealth allows Marcus to conquer the Forbes cover dedicated to the richest of 2015, his Twitter messages appear more and more melancholy and lonely. The problem with getting everything is you run out of reasons to keep trying, and the human interaction becomes impossible due to imbalance. And again, hanging out in Ibiza with a bunch of friends and partying with famous people, able to do whatever I want, and I've never felt more isolated. These are just some of the tweets published by Notch in the summer of 2015. From that moment on, the interviews become increasingly rare, and in the few he concedes, he repeats strenuously that wealth has ruined him and made him more and more alone. He even stopped programming games, the only thing that gave him joy when he was younger, and that made him a billionaire. To date, the only real contact with the world is his Twitter account, from which he now shows pieces of a life without excesses of those who can boast a fortune of over $1 billion. Burgers, playing video games, lots of retweets ready to promote small independent developers who ask for help, people who are starting as he did, and who see a point of arrival in Notch life. Marcus Persson has changed the lives of millions. Seriously, he created a myth and a masterpiece that everybody knows. The greatest game of all time. A game which sold almost 250 million copies. But in some ways, he sacrificed his mental health to pursue a lifestyle that ruined his own life, and that caused him strong loneliness, even though he can do and buy whatever he wants. Please, if you like the video, subscribe and share it. Thanks.